some beers. Let's drink them, huh?
If you really want some film at 11, why don't you follow me down to the brewery? I'll tie a bowling ball to my ankle, dive in the vat of beer. I'll leave this world the same way I entered my marriage, dead drunk.
Hello.
Want a beer?
Hook it up.
Hey, hook me up.
Y'all heard, take it from the top. 1, 2.
Beer?
This is how we do it.
My mic sound nice, check 1. My mic sound nice, check 2. My mic sound nice, check 3.
Are you ready?
That's cute. I remember when I had my first beer.
You like parties? Yeah. We can invite all our friends and have soda and pie.
Yeah!
I hope no bad people show up.
My mic sounds nice, check 1. My mic sounds nice, check 2. My mic sounds nice, check 3. My mic sounds nice, check 4. My mic sounds nice, check 5. My mic sounds nice, check 6.
Are you ready?
You want some of this milk?
Rather have a beer.
What do you guys give me if I kill that bird? Barbara, that's a bald eagle. Get away, Baldy! Yeah!
Oh, well, good evening, and good evening. This is The Word with Mike, Pete, and Steve, GovsRadio.com. Live tonight on GovsRadio.com. Head on over to GovsRadio.com and check us out. And there's all the shows on GovsRadio.com. From your COVID-19 Iron Chef to your limo talk to your Knock 'em Dead comedy and everything in between, go to GovsRadio.com for the good stuff. Also, we are live tonight on Govs Comedy Club Radio channel on Facebook and YouTube, so check out that if you are already there and you lose the signal and you don't feel like sitting around on the social media intertubes. Head on over to our home channel, GovsRadio.com. And, of course, all of our shows are going to be available in podcast form just about 24 hours after our live show. Head on over to iTunes and Spotify and, of course, our buddies over at the Hopped Up Network. What are you talking into, a remote? That's crazy.
Bro, you're frozen in a weird pick.
Yeah.
And you're like...
Am I kissing the mic? Is that what it looks like?
Your new laptop already fucking failed, Mike.
No, it didn't. No, it's not the laptop. It was the GoPro, actually. The GoPro camera, I guess. I don't know what happened there. That was weird. Anyway, go over to the Hopped Up Network and check us out in podcast form. And then, of course, if all our video fails, our audio is still good, so you can always catch the podcast. Tonight, we are sponsored by some of our friends, folks. Our friends over at VintageBeerClubShirt.com. VintageBeerClubShirt.com. Check them out. There's vintage beer shirts from all over the past few decades and some awesome logos and colors, and check them out. Of course, if you're checking out, then go ahead and type in the promo code WORT, W-O-R-T, and save a nice little chunk of change off your order. Go to VintageBeerShirtClub.com. And Stevie, take it away.
Yeah, we have Rosie's Draft Solutions. Rosie's Draft Solutions provides professional draft beer system services, line cleanings, and more for your establishment. Excuse me. So customers can enjoy the best quality beverages. They service bars, restaurants, halls, events, homes, and all other beverage establishments across Long Island and Westchester. You can reach them at rosiesdraftsolutions.com. We all know these guys, they clean your lines, baby.
That's right. They'll get your pipes clean. And, of course, if you talk to Nick, tell him the Wort sent you, and you're going to save 10% off your order on any, I believe, hardware, rental, or service charge. So go to, rosiesdraftsolutions.com. Peter, what do you got today for us from our buddies over at Brewbag?
Brewbag. It's cornhole and beer pong in one game. Whole lot of fun. We played it over the summer. I know, Mike, you brought it out a bunch of times.
Oh, yeah. Take that shit wherever I go.
Fun. They have a bunch of different designs you can choose from. You can get a custom one made up.
Yeah, now they're doing full vinyl wraps on them, which is pretty dope. So for the breweries out there, and you want to get your logo on these things and make it your own
Or buy a bunch for cornhole tournaments.
Right.
Boom.
Boom. And you got yourself.
And also enter promo code WORT at checkout.
Yes.
Or actually, no, we have a sub-site.
We do. So I did find this out, and because I had somebody interested, and I directed them to the site, and they went through our Instagram bio where all that information is. So that was good. But then at the end, there's no way of really addressing if it was for us or not. And she typed in the promo code WORT, and it worked. Not that it saved her any more money. The money was already off because of our link in our bio. But at least then it attached our name to it, so he knows that we're really trying to push it for him. So go to brewbag.com and get your brew bag today. Also, we want a couple mentions. Of course, Brewers Hardware. Our buddy Scott out in Brewers Hardware is doing awesome stuff. So is it Scott? No, it's Andrew. Andrew over at Brewers Hardware.
Always been good to us.
Always been great to us. I mean, the stuff that he sends across the country for all your small capacity or even large capacity needs, go to Brewers Hardware. You want that tri-clamp? He didn't win the presidency, but goddamn, should he have? Yes, he should have.
Yes.
Yes, he should have. So tri-clamp for president T-shirts is still out there, so grab one of those today from the Wort Wrangler. But Brewers Hardware will get you your real tri-clamps, and then you could use them and whenever you need. So go to brewershardware.com. And a couple mentions, like I said, we got Tavor for beer straight to your door. Go to tavor.com, type in promo code WORT. Of course, our buddies over at taphandles.com for all your tap handle needs, custom and large capacity. And then, of course, we mentioned our buddy over at the old Hardware Wood Shop. And they have a nice brick and mortar out in Patchogue. And I didn't forget the name. I was just making sure I got the order right. I was going to say Wood Shop Hartwell, and I don't know why that would have came out that way. So there's our sponsors for this evening. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. I tried to speed them up tonight and get done with them as soon as possible. And that way we can introduce our guest this evening, Kevin from South 40 Brewing over in Edison, New Jersey. Steve and I were there this past weekend, had a lot of fun. Good times. Kev, thanks a lot for coming on the show, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, now we know what you look like, because all we did was talk through masks.
Yeah, pretty much.
While we were there, so all we saw was,
That's it.
Was
Was I wearing a hat, Steve? I couldn't remember.
Yes.
I was. So a hat and a mask, so all you see is like the slit of my eyes, like this. Hi. So
Most attractive feature.
Yeah, well.
Peter. Don't make me whip out the thing so far on you. I mean, this is yeah, I mean
here we
I haven't even started drinking yet.
Well, that's going to happen right now.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're all going to probably start with the same thing.
Which is?
I already opened it.
The pills.
Of course.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
Because if we start with the Simcoe,
I didn't want to be left out.
We start with the Simcoe, we're in trouble at 8.4% alcohol.
Yes, I said that before we started the show. I said we're going to have to start with the pills because there is no possible way that starting with the Simcoe is going to equal a deliverable
32 ounces.
a deliverable show, at least in the first hour where most of the people are listening then. So, Kev, thanks a lot, man, for coming on. Like I said, we took a trip out there and good times. Why don't you give us a little bit of the history leading us up to pretty much literally today or this past week on the whole process and journey of getting this going? Where did it come from, where did the idea stem from, and then where are we at today?
That's good.
So pretty much started off with my dad got me I think it was an apple cider making kit and a beer kit for my birthday when I turned 21. And I messed them both up so badly that it kind of looked like I took a scoop out of the Hudson and put it in a glass.
Yes.
Brown, weird murkiness that didn't have any flavor to it, really. Might have been alcohol in there. Definitely not carbonated.
Are you sure you didn't open...
We're all thinking the same thing.
Yes, we were. Are you sure you didn't open a Worktoberfest? Because if you opened a Worktoberfest, you might have been drinking the Hudson. The Hudson, indeed. This was an Oktoberfest, Kevin, that went horribly wrong. Horribly wrong. And we didn't even have much of the brewing process.
Are we allowed to start bashing them yet?
Nah, I'm going to give it, let's give it one more week.
All right.
Let's give it one more week, and then we can start talking poorly. And then, we'll give them what they, you know what it is? We really do need
I'm anxiously awaiting that.
We can't have anyone freak out out there, okay? We've got to keep our composure. We've got too far. There's too much to lose. We've got to keep our composure.
See, that's what we have to keep our composure because, I'll be honest with you, this can, by the way, Steve, this was one of the softies.
Yep.
And it's hard as a rock now.
Yeah, mine too.
Do you think that potentially there was still fermentation to go on that?
It could have been. I mean, who really knows what the hell happened?
You can carve. What's still holding back?
It's just, it just makes me angry.
Well, we'll get into it a little bit later. Sorry, Kev. I wanted to cut you off because you spoke true to something that hurts our hearts, and that is a lot of beer wasted with very poor mistakes that were made. From who? I don't know. How? We don't know.
Hold on.
Oh, there's that bad emoji sign again. Makes its face. So, yeah, Gav, sorry.
So, I just made a weird brown murkiness. And then, so after you mess up something that bad, I kind of went, I gotta know what happened. I gotta make it right next time. And I went and read the book Designing Great Beers.
There you go.
Went down to my homebrew shop in North Brunswick. Watched a lot of YouTube videos, which were really, really helpful, confirming everything that I've read in the book. And then I eventually went from brewing in a single pot on my stove to brewing 5 and 10 gallon batches on a whole gravity fed homebrew system that I built. And then eventually just had a bunch of beer that was at a party at my house, and my dad and some of his friends were like, this is better than some of the other beers that we get at some other breweries. So they kind of, I guess, talked me into it, and then I talked them the rest of the way into it, and here we are.
You roped them in. You're like, hey.
4 years into the process, finally open.
So it's been 3 or 4 years since you kind of, from that moment until now, huh?
It took us a year to find our location.
Wow.
Because we wanted to open up an LBI, which is South 40. The brewery is actually named for the road that goes onto Long Beach Island. It's now Route 72, and prior to 1950 something, it was Route South 40. And they had a big S40 painted on the road so planes could land if they were in trouble.
Oh, that's cool.
Man.
Just in case, someone couldn't make a landing at Teterboro. They pull a straight southie and head right down. What's the situation on Long Beach Island? Is it kind of like the Jersey Shore? Does it have a different vibe? What's the overall feeling over there that made you want to be there as opposed to where you are now?
It's very family orientated, but it's also, there's not a bad spot to be in on the island, because no matter where you are, you're pretty much either 2 blocks away from the beach or 2 blocks away from the bay. And you get to watch the sun rise from the beach, and then you go home and watch the sunset from the bay.
That's pretty cool.
It's a pretty nice island.
It's very much that same vibe here on Long Island. If you go out to Long Beach, you got the bay on one side, the ocean on the other. So we're familiar with that vibe. So, I mean, was it something that in Long Beach, there was, let's say, zoning issues, or was it just a lack of space, or what was the reason why you didn't eventually settle on there?
It came down to just, if we didn't talk to every landlord at the time, I don't know who we missed. But we talked to everybody. It's just, it just couldn't work anything out for many reasons.
Sure. Whether it be price, whether it be availability. There's so many different things to look into when you're trying to get a place, because you don't want to have to do it again. You want to get there and not have to move or build another, place somewhere else. You want to be there for a while.
It's also all the buildings down there to be good. It's kind of all throughout the process, it's become more of a blessing that we didn't end up there because of there was no way to expand in any of the buildings down there. It was any space that we took, that was it. That's our space.
Well, I know Mike and I thought your place was really cool inside. Definitely, you have potential to do a lot of things in there now that you're open, and now you can really make a decision where you're going to go and what you're going to do, and you have options, which is really cool.
So you settled on the Raritan Center, which I was familiar with, been there a few times for Cypress, who's also right in that business center there. What's really cool about your building that sets it apart from other buildings on the property is the history involved. And one of the signs that we posted over the weekend was one of the signs you kind of dug up from the backyard and put on the wall. Yeah, literally. Yeah. And it was the site of the Raritan Ammunition Center, or the Arsenal. Actually, it was called an arsenal. And it's ridiculous what was going on over there. I did a little research, but I pulled it up now. And the idea was to have this complete arsenal to supply the Manhattan area, if needed, with weapons and ammunition. So they needed a very large space to store all the ammunition shipped up from on trains, because if you go into the Raritan office center, a lot of it is connected or interconnected with train tracks and stuff like that. It was built for long-term storage, and basically, the idea was there was going to be a shipment and receipt of weaponry on your site, which is very, very cool history. I really do like those kinds of spots.
Yeah, and we're tucked in the back of it, and there's hundreds of acres that is still the way it was when they originally bought it. So and there's cooler, older buildings down further in the marshy areas.
Wow.
Have you ever trekked down in there and seen anything cool?
Yeah, but my car bottoms out a lot because it's not very nice roads. The deeper you go in there.
Apparently, there was high explosive materials on site, smokeless powder, low explosives, munitions, all sorts of crazy stuff. I am sure that if you were to get into that marshland, you'd probably pull up some empty shells and stuff like that. That'd be really cool.
A number of years ago, I think it's less than 10 years ago, they actually found they had to shut down, or I guess tell everybody to go home for the day.
They found something?
Shut down the college because they found a bunch of ammunition on the ground in the area.
That's crazy.
Wow. There was somebody who was telling me that they dug up whole Jeeps in certain areas that they just buried in the ground and looked like they were buried there yesterday.
Jeez.
That's crazy.
The other part of the plan was to begin remediation of the whole site, so it could be part of the business plan. So a lot of the area there, even up to yours, has some very modernized buildings. Yours actually ended up keeping a little bit of the history. So inside the tasting room, we noticed you did a great job, drop ceiling, modernized, looks great. Outside in the brewing area, though, is the original ceilings. Tell us a little about what's going on in the building itself. What are we looking at for the structure, and then what we did also, and Steve kind of tipped you.
Yeah, we only have 2,100 square feet, but there's a lot more space. There's 4 total units. So we have one unit that's next to us that we supposedly could move into pretty soon if we needed it. But the space it's an ammunitions depot, so the floor is, I believe, 8 to 10 inches thick concrete.
Jesus. That must have been a bitch for plumbing, huh?
Yep. They did not like us. But the walls of the building are brick, and it's brick. It's 2 layers of brick with cement on the inside, and the ceiling is I think it's mostly original still, but it's all big timbers of wood that it was designed so that way if the ammunitions went off, the building blew to toothpicks, or the roof blew to toothpicks, and they just slapped a new one on, but the walls and everything stayed.
Yeah, it's a very cool construction. Yeah.
And most of the original blast-proof doors are still there.
Oh, really?
When you walk in our front door, above it is a door that covers up a window, and it's like that thick of metal and wood.
That's freaking cool. Yeah, I love when the brewery has character to it, a little history. We've seen a couple here, even on Long Island, that have, they moved into a spot that just had things in the walls or stuff that you just find around the grounds, and it just kind of adds that character and flavor to it.
It's very convenient because you want to add that character to the brewery or have it in there, and we didn't really have to do anything because it was already there.
They just put it up on the wall, clean it up a little bit, shake it off, throw a little sanitization on it, a little ISO right on right on the sign, and you're good to go. And that sign, that 4 sign, you said it was 50 pounds. It was like solid metal back when the United States made good steel.
It had to be something like 40 or 50 pounds because it took 2 of us to hold it up, and while one other person was screwing it in.
Pete, you missed some of the motif. I don't know if I showed you all the pictures, but I did take some video, so we're going to post that after the show today. You get to see it up on our Instagram.
Show me.
But some just cool shots around the area, and you can kind of see how everything's laid out. And you guys had a mural in the midst of being painted. Tell us a little bit about that.
So it's like 12 feet wide by 8 feet tall. It's supposed to represent the original South 40, the way it would have looked back in the day. And so it looks like a shot of the Pine Barrens with the sun setting over the mountains.
It's very cool.
And an old car, it's like a 57 Chevy, I believe, that's going to eventually be painted candy apple red.
Ooh.
Cool.
Cruising the Pike. The vibe and feel, the outside, almost like a loading dock. Like you said, the doors all, kind of look. You have a nice garage door, obviously, that definitely helps to get all the equipment and everything. So let's give us a little bit of specs on what you got going on in the brew house. What are you running with?
So we have the 3.5 barrel Blickman brew house. We have 6 3-barrel fermenters from Bubba's Barrels, I believe they're in Tennessee, and 2 7-barrel bright tanks that we got off of Tom Foolery in Hamilton before they closed.
Yeah, no, you didn't come to AC Beer Fest. Tom Foolery had pretty good beer. Do you remember what the reason, Kevin, was for them to close down? I don't recall hearing why.
I never had his beer, but he told me that he was getting really unhappy with the way the laws are going in New Jersey now for breweries. And so he's hopping over the border to Pennsylvania to reopen over there.
I'm hopping the state line. So that brings us up today, because you opened roughly around 2 weeks ago?
October 24th.
There you go. I mean, so really, really brand new. Great time.
Nothing difficult, no challenges. Easy street.
Smooth sailing.
Easy peasy.
That's crazy.
Exactly. The timing, obviously, probably not the best. Not your fault, obviously. But despite that,
you don't know that. You don't know that he's not the first. He's patient zero.
Well, maybe I do. Maybe I don't. But, I mean, despite all the hardships that a brewery would face opening in a time like this, it's a pretty big feat. What were the biggest challenges over the last year or so while building that you had to kind of hop over? I know, like you said, he left the state from laws. What kind of laws were like the hardest to get through? The red tape of getting inspections done. What was the biggest things you had to get accomplished before you opened this past month?
Just really getting the state to give us our license, really, and we don't even have it yet. We only have a temporary permit at the moment. But federal town couldn't have gotten the stuff to us faster.
Of course they do. What else are they doing? Working from home.
Yeah.
The state though, is that the hardest one to get? And Steve, maybe you can help me out. Do we get temporaries up here in New York?
You can get to start production, but you really can't do much else.
Okay.
What it basically does, it just gives you the opportunity to get things up and running.
Right.
So when you do get your final, I mean, what's interesting in New York? New York, it seems the townships are harder than anything else. I know getting your federal is pretty quick. Yeah. State, as long as you're abiding by everything, it's not too bad. Yes, it does take a little bit because there's so many breweries trying to open up, but it's usually the townships that really are screw with most of the breweries on the island, where they sit for a good year or more trying to. I mean, last week I'll let you know, talking to Long Beach of what they're going through.
Yep.
Yeah, they're open, but they don't have a tasting room, and it's all again township. It's nothing to do with the state.
Kevin, how open was Edison Township to having another brewery in their area?
Couldn't have been nicer. They honestly
must be nice.
Yeah, we sent them our paperwork, and 3 days later it came back okay. And then all the inspectors showed up same day within 2 hours of each other, and they seemed really happy with everything that they saw, and almost no questions asked.
That's cool.
It's like a conga line of inspectors. Din, 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 din. You prove. Din, din,
Who's next?
You proved. Guy's in his car. All right, you're up. Good. You're in there. What? So obviously setting up the space and all that. It took about a year to get everything done. Let's talk about your cold box, because that was one of the highlight points for us, seeing the construction. You built that yourself.
Yep.
And so, what went into that? Because that's probably one of the harder things to do. I mean, as much as you got the tanks in and the plumbing and all that, this is something you got to pretty much build a room within a room, and figure out how you temperature control everything. Give us a little rundown on the cold box.
So we looked up the prices of a pre-built walk-in cooler, and said that's not happening. That's expensive. So we started looking around online there and found that you can actually build a pretty solid walk-in cooler just with some wood and the right kind of insulation. Different layers of extruded insulation. There's even we have a layer of insulation that's it's like it's molten basalt, I believe. So it's called rock wool.
You gotta watch your mouth on the show.
Hush up, that dirty talk.
Yeah.
It looks like wool, but it's really rock that's been heated up to liquid and sprayed. And so
that's an insulator. Jeez.
It's close to a foot thick all the way around.
Yeah.
Yo, so when we came in, you wouldn't know that that's the cold box. And when you walk in, it looks like a well-tiled kitchen floor. So you've done a really good job on making it look as good as it probably is operating.
Yeah, we tried to make it as sanitary as possible in there, and it's just a 24,000 BTU air conditioner with a little cool bot that tricks it into thinking it's 90 degrees, so it keeps the cool air pumping.
He took the restrictor plate off the Red Dragon, Pete. That's what it is.
He did.
Try to give the baby a little more juice.
Those friggin' cool bots are awesome. Save you a ton of money instead of having this big compressor on top with an evaporator and everything sucking in all the electricity, and just like New York, Jersey, the electrical supply is not the cheapest around. So
yeah, and you have everything electric, correct? There's no gas or oil in the building.
Yeah, all electric. Yeah.
Is there a way? Have you looked into solar panels on the roof? I don't know what the angle of the roof is now. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. So, actually, no, but I know most of the buildings in the center do actually have some type of solar paneling on top of them. But we have a rather large warehouse behind us.
Yeah.
So it does keep us in the shade for a decent portion of the day.
Oh, good point.
So I don't know how well that would work, but yeah.
Now, right now we're all three of us are drinking the pills, which actually, when Mike and I were there, we had it, and I was impressed that for a little system and you guys just starting out, a Pilsner can be quite daunting to brew correctly, and but it came out really well. It tastes great flavor,
great,
crisp, as we like our crispy boys, as we like to say. And we did notice you had quite a different amount. You weren't the hazy boy craze brewery. You actually had a nice rounded menu that could probably, anybody that came in, it could probably find at least something that is in the style range that they enjoy. How'd you come up with most of those styles?
It was just, from the beginning, I just wanted it to be a place where no matter who you are when you walk in the door, no matter who you bring with you, everybody can look at the board and say, okay, there's at least one thing I like up there. So I want everybody to come and do at least a flight or two. And the goal is just to like one thing, even if you hate all the other beer, just one. It's good enough for me.
There you go. Something you can keep drinking over and over again.
Yeah. And we even break down the menu on the board. Right now it says beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And I think in parentheses, we still have AKA beer nerd next to advanced for the hazy beers. But, and it all designed to just be easier for somebody who doesn't drink the hazy beers or doesn't go to a lot of breweries, but came along with a friend or came along with their kids, and they don't know what they want, or they don't know where to start on the board. So we kind of give them a place to start in a way.
You have
make it a little easier.
You have a few weeks now of sample sets. What's the feedback on that concept of beginner, intermediate, and advanced? What is the reactions people are getting? Like, oh, this makes it easier, or I'm sure you're probably getting craft beer drinkers in the area, especially when a new brewery opens. Everyone kind of comes in and wants to see what it's all about. What's the feedback over the last few weeks?
Most people like it. We've had two people two people while I was behind the bar who walked in and said, "I'm not a beginner," and yeah, but
that's where the Pils is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where a lot of seasoned craft beer drinkers will probably start. Steve and I were both saying we got to go with the Pils just to kind of kick it all off, because that's usually a good gauge of temperature for the brewery. And, we were impressed with that. And of course the Simcoe's Baby that we're going to have a little bit. And that was more on the advanced range, but you had also, like Steve was saying, like a nice wide variety of stuff. So what would be on the board for the beginner? What kind of beers can people expect, even though it kind of feels like a little demeaning as a craft beer connoisseur to say it's beginner, but it's not. Yeah, we got the concept. Most people can see through the idea. But what's the lineup for the beginner range?
So by beginner, we really mean like your traditional styles.
Oh, okay, all right.
So like that's why the Purest Pils is right on top. Then we have our California Fairy, which is just a pretty standard blonde ale, and then the Kolsch, it's called Kolschba because it's like a hybrid between a Kolsch and a pale ale.
Yep.
And so the beginner is meant to be your traditional styles that don't have anything crazy added to them. And then you hop over to intermediate. We have our Oktoberfest, our Dunkelweizen, and a lighter coffee stout that doesn't have any coffee in it. So it's stuff that, like the Dunkelweizen, it's a traditional style, but it's more flavorful than a Hefeweizen, which a Hefeweizen would be in the beginner section because there's not too much to unpack there. But then a Dunkelweizen, you add in the caramelly layers, and it becomes more intense. But then at the same time, the coffee stout is something that any beginner can drink, because if you're a beginner and you like coffee, you're probably going to like a coffee stout. And
it doesn't have any coffee in it?
Nope. It's
Can
all.
you talk about that? How do you call it? Is the grain bill?
Yep. It's caramel malts and a lot of pale chocolate malt that came out with a nice like mocha flavor.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Steve and I were sitting on our first flight, kind of going through that intermediate. We had the dark wheat, which was the Dunkelweiss, and then we had, I think you had the stout, and I chose something else. But that was good, because I like a good dark beer, good Dunkel in general. And that one stood out as well. That would have been our third choice for Crowlers to go, but we figured we weren't going to get through two tonight as it is. Otherwise, I'll be falling asleep back here right behind the bar. Not the first time, by the way. Just won't be this time. Pete will not be able to stack up 15 cans on his desk tonight.
Right. No.
It'll be 2 cans, but it'll be equally as impactful as the 4 or 5 cans the other day. And the advanced. So we have, like you said, you done a hazy, you did a New England, and then the Simcoe's was more like a direct Simcoe, thought out process. What was the other one? I know I had it. I forget what it was. What was the
door opener?
Right.
It's meant to be very, very juicy, very low in the bitterness, almost sweet.
Yeah.
So that way, and the door opener is meant to be the one that somebody who is a traditional beer drinker, you might only drink, the Bud Light and stuff. You taste that and you're like, okay, maybe this craft beer stuff isn't so bad.
And go in that direction.
Yeah, and it's 8.5%.
Yeah.
So they feel pretty good after one of them.
I was very intrigued though. You gave us a sample of one of the fermenters on the basically kind of like the cinnamon roll style here that you have cooking up, so to speak. That's not ready yet, but tell us a little bit of what you have coming up, because again, that was right up my alley. I was and taking that sample, we were like, oh yeah, we see where this is going. This is good.
Yeah, that one I'm very proud of, because it's got that nice base already of, okay, this could definitely, if you add in the cinnamon and vanilla at the right ratios, this could really taste like a cinnamon bun.
What is the style and what is it and what's the name of it?
So it's a cinnamon. It's going to be a cinnamon roll beer, but not your normal 9% super thick syrupy cinnamon roll beer. It's going to be 4.8 to 5%, so that way you can drink a full glass.
Stout.
Yeah. With not too sugary or anything. It's just the cinnamon and the vanilla beans, but it's called babushka's buns. Yeah, because it hopefully it'll taste like your grandmother made you a beer that happened to taste like her cinnamon rolls.
There you go. Yeah, well, it's on its way, because we had the base part of it, and I would hope when it gets out there, hopefully we can stop in one more time and get that before it's all gone.
Hey, Grandma, can I get some of your cinnamon rolls?
Not up in here.
Okay, guess not.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
See, I told you I had them. And I have to time it out because there's a delay from when I touch and then it plays, and just getting a little too technical for you. I apologize. Yeah, I mean, that cinnamon, both Steve and I sat there and went, okay. Are you classifying it as a stout, or is it a porter, just a dark? What's the...
It's closer to a brown ale.
Brown? Okay, all right.
But the pale or the little bit of chocolate malt that's added in there takes it to the nice cinnamon roll base.
Yeah. And so you still had to do, vanilla bean, and what was the other adjunct? You were going to go...
Cinnamon sticks.
Oh, cinnamon sticks. Wow. All right. So, yeah, I mean, it was on its way, as Steve and I were talking about.
Yeah.
And you had a second one in there. You also had another New England, correct?
Yep. So that is going to be I'm going for a pineapple double IPA. And no pineapple, just hops. So it's Azacca, Citra, and Simcoe. And what I add in the whirlpool is going to be just double that in the dry hop. So it should get much more intensely pineapple. And to me, I think it was the day you guys were there, to me, it was smelling like when you go get a fresh pineapple at the store, you're supposed to smell the bottom of it. Yeah. And if it smells like a sweet pineapple, it's ripe. And that's the way it's smelling to me right now.
And it was sweet compared to now, but that is going to all kind of fall off once you get that second dry hop in there and really kind of hop it up and use the hops to kind of off center or balance out, if you want to say, the sweetness. And again, Steve and I both thought that direction was going to be a winner, because love a good, effervescent, fruity IPA. It's something easy to drink, especially, especially when do you think that's going to be done? When is that set to be complete? How long is it in the tank for?
So I only just brewed it on Thursday, but it should be coming out of the tank and on tap, not this Friday, but the following Friday.
All right, so about 2 weeks or so in the tank, yeah. All right, well, hopefully the weather still holds up, and then it'd be nice 70 degrees outside again, like it was for us. It was
pretty
gorgeous
warm today.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Are you guys open today?
Yeah, we're open every day of the week.
Every day of the week.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome. So you don't really have too many businesses kind of interfering with the tasting room hours, right? There's nothing like you guys are kind of vying for parking down there or anything like that. It's all pretty open once 5 o'clock rolls around.
Yeah. Yeah, and we open it at 12 every day, but yeah, there's because we're an industrial park, it's especially in the section that we're in, it's just truck trailers flying by all day, and then that kind of calms down after 5 o'clock. And
here's a good
nice
question to relate back to 2 weeks ago show. How many of the local workers in the business section have come in? Have they said this is great to have a brewery right here in the park? Are people responding to that? How's that working out for you?
Almost all of our immediate neighbors have come by to help to come in and check it out. And we have a crew of guys from around the corner who it's their, I mean, we've only been open for 2 Fridays, and it's their Friday night thing. They all come in at like 5:30, 6 o'clock.
That's when awesome. Their shift is over, right? When their shift is over. They're responsible employees. Yeah. We say that, Kevin, because, again, like Steve said, we had the Long Beach Brewing Company here on Long Island come in and tell us that the town's kind of cock-blocking them because of the amount of business that's around there and how drunk people will be spilling out into the streets and getting hit by Mack trucks.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is so stupid.
Which is ridiculous. It's just
happens every week at all the breweries on Long Island.
Yeah, everybody. COVID is not even the imminent death problem here.
It's drunk people wandering out of breweries, getting hit by Mack
traffic
trucks.
and getting hit by semis.
Parked semis, by the way. Just nothing but parked semis.
Yes.
So that brings me to this question, Kev, because I know, I'm getting alerts every day or so. Cases going up here on Long Island, in New York in general. But we've heard a lot here in Long Island and New York about New Jersey spiking a little bit. Have you heard anything about local businesses in your area or in the township or even in the state, and what the current temperature is of a possible restriction or going on? Have you heard that? Because I did hear something about closing earlier now. So has that impacted you yet, or stuff has been sent down?
There have been some towns that they've started shutting things down by, I think in Newark it's like 8 o'clock they shut things down, but the governor just said I think it's 10 o'clock, no more indoor. Okay. But I don't know about outdoor, but at past 10 p.m. everything's got to close up.
I saw some of the details of it. They were trying to target restaurants and bars late night. They think that after 10 o'clock, apparently, everyone just takes their mask off and their pants, and it's just nothing but rubbing each other at that time. I don't understand that concept.
Yeah, I see that.
Mask off, pants off.
Right, I understand. All right, maybe now you sold me. Now I'm with them. Governor Murphy, you got my vote. I don't live in the state, but you got it anyway. But the other thing that I saw, and this was interesting, and to affect businesses, one of the things that they're trying to limit is indoor high school sports. That was the second most important thing they wanted to limit, which I thought that was one of the details that popped up in my news feed. That it was, businesses after a certain time, more restaurants and bars. But then next in line was high school indoor sports. Like that's the next biggest deal. I don't.
Very specific.
Parents are insane, and they will go and fight and.
But that, I see that in football. But
that's not crazy.
Basketball season hasn't started yet. That's usually a winter sport. What else is indoors?
Girls volleyball.
Girls
volleyball.
Yep.
They are.
You wouldn't think it.
No.
But it's violent. It's that or badminton. One of the two.
Susie's mom's got a mean right hook. You got to be careful.
She's a straight up Karen. What do you know?
Yeah.
She will left hook and then Karen you out of the building. You have
Karen and Debbie will just be at it.
Oh, my God. Screaming across the gym. Your daughter's an asshole.
Yeah.
Spiking
and
the
you
ball
too,
at my other
Linda.
daughter.
You too, Linda. You piece of...
Your son's gorgeous, but your daughter's a whore. God damn it. It's got to be frightening just in general to be a business owner now, because after we came out of the spring and you guys saw the light at the end of the tunnel to get this thing up and running, to now see it just weeks into it, how's the feeling around you and the business and everything? I mean, you would you be able to transition very quickly to go stuff? How are you preparing for what may happen?
We're working on getting our label approval so that way we can pre-fill and sell delivery and stuff like that. But as far as like the shutdowns coming, it's just that's why we're open every single day. It's just don't think about it.
Hey,
just,
while the sun is shining, right?
Yep.
Let's go for it, man.
And just if it happens, it happens. But right now I'm just trying to make the best beer I can.
One of the things I did say to Steve on the way home is cool, calm, and collective. That Kevin, you're a K in the sea of C's, and that doesn't sound right, but yeah, I mean, it didn't seem like anything was bothering you, so that's good. I guess a good attitude to have. Just go until you can't go no more, right?
It's been amazing. Just didn't think we'd get the customers that we've been getting in the middle of a global pandemic.
Yeah,
and a lot of repeat customers.
That's good. That's really good. Yeah. Now, do you have another line of work besides the brewery, or is this it for you?
Nope. I quit my job, and my last day there was October 16th.
Wow.
So it's been brewery full time. It's especially at 3 Barrels. It's
you're brewing a lot, bro.
Yeah, and it's just and the whole plan with going 3 Barrels is forcing myself to prove my recipes and get them nailed down. And then if we can get through that, if we can get, a good customer base going with just 3 Barrels and stay open and stay consistent, then we'll start.
You have the space to scale up to, like a 10-barrel system or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And would that be the next step? Would you look at a 10-barrel? I mean, I'm sure you're pre-planning now, moving out on the website, just checking out all the gear. Like, ooh, look at this little SS system. I'd love to get my hands on that. What would be the next logical step for you if in fact you grew out of what you have?
I would like to go to probably 7 Barrels and then get 7-barrel fermenters and then get some 14.
This way you could glyco chill them, and you'll have so much more ability in what you can do. Right now you're doing the best you can with what you have, because that's the way sometimes you got to start. As I did, you make do and you make the best beer you can at this point in time. Which again, speaking with Mike on the way home, we've gone to breweries where they've been open a while and they still really don't have a clue what they're doing, but you already seem to be on a good path, because there were several beers that we were like, all right, yeah, these are already good. Other ones, I wouldn't say were bad, but I could see where you're going to be. And you already said to us, there were several times you're like, oh yeah, so just so you know, this is a little this and this, putting a little bug in our ear, which you were already on that. You're already on that path. You always want to better what you're doing, which is the best thing to see from a brewery.
Yeah, I got a little bit of advice a little over a month ago. And it really speaks to brewing. It's when you're creating art, it's never going to be perfect,
Nope.
So other people aren't going to see it, but you're going to see it all. So it's going to be hard for a while.
Yeah, and you know what? And your biggest critic is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems you already are, which is a good thing, because there are some guys that just don't get it. They're like, no, this beer is fantastic, and it it's like drinking a friggin' Wort,
Worktoberfest.
A Worktoberfest.
I was one of those people, by the way, Kevin. So when we first, hold on, I was teaching all day. My voice is very hoarse tonight. When we first took this off the tap to start canning, I had one, and I went, oh, it's not bad. I know in the back of my head I'm going, oh, this sucks. But I was trying to kind of convince myself that it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. And then the voice of reason, obviously, was Steve and Joe at WA Meadworks coming in and going, guys, this is not fine.
It's
I'm like,
not fine.
No, but it's fine. It's fine.
I could not associate with those beers.
And then after careful consideration, I said, you're right. It certainly was not fine. And this is not going to work out. So I get what you're saying. We wanted to be better than this, obviously. And I would assume same thing goes for you, Kev. I mean, it's a work in progress. And as also a creative person doing, audio production, I sit at a mix for days for no reason, just trying to perfect like one little thing, and no one will ever hear it. No one will ever know it. And yet it's all about me. I just want to get it to where I think it's good. And then I'll throw it out there and say, what do we think? And then from there, I'll take the criticism. But I'm my own worst critic, I would say. And I'm assuming that's kind of where you're going with this. It's just constantly always trying to perfect the art to the point of non-perfection.
Yeah. And what's funny is the beers that I was like just not the most proud of, but they still came out good. Once I started seeing the numbers come in, it's like, okay, people are loving that one. I was just being a little too hard on it.
Yeah, well, it's not a bad thing, bro.
No,
because that beer that you're hemming and hawing over is just going to get better because you're going to try to improve it each time you brew it, and even more people are going to like it than already like it. So that's a good thing to have, and stick with that. I'm telling you.
And like Steve said, having the repeat customers, they wouldn't come back because I know I've been to breweries where I was not impressed. I wouldn't come back. Even if it was a friend or even if it's whatever, I'm just not in a rush. And only if I hear things have turned around will I give it another chance. And I'll really have to hear that. That's something that as a consumer, not as an owner or a brewer, would say, I'm waiting to hear better things before I give them another chance. But having those repeat customers kind of speaks loudly, which is awesome. And it's something, especially in this time, that people don't need to do that. There's a risk to doing that, and that's what's really cool on top of it. Anyone out there that has a business that has people constantly coming in, they're taking that risk every day for, either getting sick and getting really sick, or even just the inconvenience of being locked down and stuck in their house for 2 weeks just to get what they want. Again, it says a lot to, what you're doing.
And you're the main dude too. You're the brewer. You're cleaning. You're coming up with the recipe ideas. So you got a lot on your table. So
that side's all. Yeah, it's all me. Yeah. I didn't
we
realize how many hours it's going to be.
We were talking, and you said you had to build yourself a little office. Not even thinking like how much work would be involved on the business end. And you're like, I needed a place to put a computer, or at least sit for 5 minutes out of the brew house and do something.
I didn't even want an office. I tried to fight it, but I got convinced to make one. And I'm like, okay, okay, I get it now. I really did need it. I need a place for the safe and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. That too. I mean, even in today's society where there's a lot of electronic transactions, there's still people coming in, not only with that, but you have tips, you have payroll, you have all the business elements of insurance and ordering and all that stuff. All that stuff has got to be done somewhere. You really can't just do that at the bar. Some people do. I've seen it. But it just looks, to me, it looks a little unprofessional at times. It's seeing your whole business laid out on the bar as people are sitting there next to you drinking. It's a little weird sometimes. I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's happened.
So this past Tuesday, marijuana was legalized the ballot initiative to legalize marijuana in the state of New Jersey was legalized. So you think a THC infused beer is...
Kevin, I didn't prompt him, I promise. We had this conversation at the brewery. I did not...
Why am I not surprised?
Whoa!
I figured I'd beat you to the punch with this question.
Well, you did.
Are there any
Ricky Bobby?
It's
are there any THC beers? I guess you talked about this.
We need to talk about it now. But my question, same thing, Pete, was now that weed's legalized, it's something that you can look into. Now, with that said, Steve and I actually heard a news segment on one of the stations on the way home about that, and it said that it's going to take some time.
Oh yeah, like Colorado legalized it, and then it was like I think a solid 18 months between when the ballot initiative passed to when, it
doesn't mean overnight.
It takes a lot of work to. No, not even like the end of the year. It's you have to build a whole regulatory system.
Yep.
And license people and different licenses for growing, for serving, for it's
one of the things they did say in the news report is that the one thing that will be able to get off the ground sooner than anything else is already the medically licensed establishments. So the ones that are already doing therapeutics and stuff like that, they'll be the ones to get up and running sooner than later. And then the personal businesses will start to come in as the licensing applications go in and things like that. But let's say, Kevin, 2 years down the line, everything is like Colorado and California. Would that be something you'd look into and see what the ability is of a THC-infused beer or a hemp oil-infused beer?
I think it's definitely something to look forward to. And it is that from what I've been hearing or reading, they're saying that it will actually probably be 2 years before it can be done.
Yeah.
But it's still federally illegal, and
for the moment,
I believe we might have. I think that might be like a roadblock for us because I think you might have to get label approval from the federal government at that point. If you start putting actual THC versus CBD,
and they're not about that right now.
Yeah,
they're all about hemp oil and any of that, but no THC right now. That's a whole that we won't see that for years, I don't think. But we just had Sweetwater getting bought up by a company that does CBD and all that. So
really.
Yeah.
I think it'll be really interesting because of how closely related hops are to marijuana to begin with.
Yeah.
I think it'll at least get rescheduled in the next 2 years at the federal level, whether or not it's legal for recreational use.
Which might speed up the process in states that legalize it, which is, that might be true. Help those kind of kickstart a little faster than they normally would.
And I could already see a place opening up in Lindenhurst called O'Toole's House of Weed.
No. Conflict of interest.
Not in Lindenhurst. He'd open it up in Babylon Village. It's more walkable, Steve.
True. I would go to Patchogue, away from my home.
Backyard?
Yes, not my backyard. People would know. I don't. If it's legal, then I don't really give a shit if anyone knows. But I mean, for the most part, it's one of those things where if it's regulated right, taxed right, and done right, in a few years, you could look at it just like alcohol. I mean, it's actually all right. I'm not going to speak from science, but
don't get on the soapbox.
No. In my opinion, it's less lethal. It's less harmful if it's done in certain ways. Yeah, smoking, it's going to hurt your lungs, but maybe eating it in its chemical form isn't as bad as it is to drink alcohol, and the long-term effects could be positive and not negative. Not to demean alcohol, because I'll never stop with you, my first love. But that's the point. You never know what that effect could have and what promise it could bring. I mean, there's studies all out there about what the effects of it are, especially in pure THC form or even with its CBD counterpart. To have, my in-laws take CBD because of aching joints, and it really helps out. I mean, those are some amazing things we didn't have years ago, and really kind of, does it help everyone? I don't know. But I think people are still sleeping on it because it has a big stigma. And if we can, kind of change that thought process like we have with alcohol, I think we can do really great things with it. And bringing it into beer and bringing it into the craft beer world would just bring another level to it. It'd be awesome. There's my soapbox, Pete. Didn't go over, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Don't.
Hey, I get I get random drug tested all the freaking time. So.
The sound didn't play. That's why there was the lull of silence. Here it is.
There you go.
Yeah, my soapbox stand didn't go right. All right, whatever. Kev, so we are moving forward on the menu, and so you kind of already touched upon how you have it separated out. Let's go back through that. I want to start with the beginner because right now, as Steve said earlier, we are drinking the pills. Give us a little breakdown of the pills itself and, the grain bill. You don't have to give us all the secrets, but what kind of yeast you're using and what kind of process goes into each of those beers. Because I'm interested in that KPA or Kolsch Pale Ale. I think Steve got it. I didn't get it.
I had it. Yep.
Yeah, I'm interested in kind of that process as well. So run me down the beginner list and kind of what you're working with.
So I mean, I think with the Pilsner, the secret is just use Pilsner. Just use the traditional German hops, and it's going to taste the way it's supposed to. Or Saaz, and I think it was one of the Holocaust, I believe, is in there. Yeah. So just keep it as simple as possible.
No two-row, no keef, none of that.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And I know we were speaking about yeast. You're using liquid yeast.
Yep. Yeah. Only liquid. I believe there's like you can mess up just dry stuff if you don't liquefy it at the right temperature before you mix it in.
I saw you have your beaker. Your Bunsen beaker. I made a comment. It's like, ooh, centrifuge, Bunsen beakers, get the swirl going. Nice. Is that pretty much the process? Are you cultivating that the day of, a few weeks out? How are you kind of processing that yeast as before it goes into the brew itself?
The plan is to eventually get to the confidence level of being able to reuse the yeast. But for right now, it's we just opened. I'm just want to get that process down to the point where I can do it in a zombie state.
Fresh pitch right in every time.
Yeah. So I just want that yeast going in there, knowing that it's going to do what it needs to do every single time.
Steve, is there
Without having to wonder if you had the right cell count, if you had viable,
Steve, is there any monetary benefit to kind of cultivating your own yeast, or is it just about flavor?
No, there is a shit ton of money to be saved.
Yeah.
I know I was at Blue Point one day.
Yeah.
And hanging out with the brewers, and we were talking about yeast propagation and reusage, and their yeast that they use for their toasted lager.
Classic.
They had gone up to 50 generations of using that yeast, but again, they have a lab that they could do that with.
They have Uncle Anheuser money.
Where most brewers, you get five generations, 6 generations, and then you notice a little drop off in certain things, whether it be attenuation or flocculation, it actually dropping out, or stuff like that, and then you end up getting a new pitch in there, and you will notice a little difference in flavor, but yeah, it can save you a lot.
I can imagine, yeah, and especially at that scale, something like toasted lager where they're brewing like a metric fuck ton of it every week.
Well, the yeast it's expensive to a point, but when you buy liquid yeast, it's shipped next day overnight.
Yep.
And
that's expensive.
And they bang you hard on shipping, bro.
Wow.
I mean, I would buy yeast and
that dirty talk.
Love that drop.
I would buy yeast and half of the price of the yeast was shipping. Total.
Jesus.
It's so. But I know Kevin and I were speaking. You guys were looking at local. You had someone local.
Yeah, there's a guy who's local who's going to help us with that shipping, because I'll literally
drive right there, bro.
20-minute drive maybe. Whereas now it's it's still going to be close to half the cost of making a beer at our brewery. But,
it's just in the yeast.
Yeah.
And as expensive as the hops get, the yeast far surpasses that.
Well, with the exception of the Simcoe's Baby and our double New England IPAs, the yeast is usually, if it's not the most expensive thing, it only gets beat out by a couple bucks.
Yeah.
That's surprising. I would have thought hops. Would have thought the yeast would be the least expensive.
No, well, you got
between that and like your grain, and
you got to look at too. Certain hops, yes, the ones that are real rare, and you can't get.
If you're buying 50 pounds of Galaxy, I'm sure that's
you're paying at your ass. You're getting raped. You're getting all sorts of things that happen to you.
Some of them positive, depending on your point of view.
But again, we were Kevin and I were talking while we were there, and some of the hops that he's using are not all that expensive, readily available.
Yep.
And sometimes that's the way to go, and you still can make a good product. You don't have to always use that elusive, real sexy, dirty hop.
Well, I throw Simcoe in that category as a very widely used hop.
But you know what? Simcoe is a grown in the United States hop.
Right. So it saves
where Galaxy is not, and Matuka and a whole bunch of those Australian and
New Zealand stuff. Yeah.
You don't want to do the X70 RV or whatever.
Yeah, well, all those experimentals too. Sometimes you get those.
Isn't that what Elon Musk named his next kid?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
He should be embarrassed.
Aren't you embarrassed?
He should be.
Hey, that was
Sebastian Scalco.
Yes, that was Sebastian. That's correct. I don't know. I feel like I grew up when I first started, doing a little homebrew. I was using like Mount Hood, Cascade, Centennial, very easily found hops in the Pacific Northwest, right? I mean, those are basically Pacific Northwest hops. Am I right about those?
Yeah, well, the majority of hops are grown on the West Coast, even though there's a lot of East Coast hop farms now. But a good majority are Oregon, Washington, all in that range.
Kev, is there a precedent?
Speaking of Oregon, I hear drugs won the war on drugs in Oregon.
Sure
so
did.
Yes.
Congratulations
To Oregon.
Congratulations
order.
For you guys. Now you can do all the bath salts you
Way
want.
to go, crack.
Yay. I wonder if Oregon breweries are going to use crack in their next brew process.
I kind of hope someone tries now. Like, here's our meth-infused beer, or
people just eating the glass, drinking. Crazy. That's a little over the top, little radical for me. I'm sorry. One thing to do a little marijuana, but nah, come on. I mean, come on. That's a little much. So, Kev, is there New Jersey? Is there some sort of local grown hop that people are using as part of the kind of area? I guess
that's something that I was actually planning on looking into soon, because there are, I guess that's where they go into the terroir of the beer. It's you can grow the same hop in Oregon or in Washington. It's going to come out different.
Yep.
And in New Jersey, unfortunately, the hops that I've come across are the hops that I've been able to smell, really, not even tasting a beer yet, from other brewers who have gotten a hold of them. It smells like the back of the lawnmower. Yeah, it's just not there.
Yeah,
grass
we could
clippings.
Now,
which I would love in a Yankee Candle, but probably not so much.
But not in my
beer.
Pilsner.
So hyper local is a thing. So what kind of ingredients
Could you
are
get?
you able to use that are, is it a grain? Is it some adjunct from Jersey that's
not
yet,
the water, but
yeah.
The water for sure. Yeah,
it's not bad there. Listen, it's very New Yorky water in New Jersey. New Yorky. They have good water for your pizza, because New Jersey has pretty decent pizza, and the bagels.
The pizza belt.
Yep, the bagels are pretty good. So everything that kind of area works well with the New Jersey water, and it does. I feel, and we'll go back to this, same not argument, but whatever I've had, is that a bunch of the taste comes from how you treat your water or how it is coming out of the tap. So, is there a certain taste that you guys are finding from maybe even specifically the industrial park versus even in the state? Are you guys kind of looking to change the pH, or are you doing anything to that level yet?
It's just the slightest amount of like potassium metabisulfite, just to get rid of. There's like a smidge of chloramines, and that's it. Other than that, I have the same water in my apartment, and it tastes good right off the tap.
Sure does. Tastes great out of the hose too. I love hose water. Listen, this is not. Well, I'm not throwing out hand grenades here. This is real. There's nothing better to me in the summer than drinking out of the hose. There's something to that.
Especially
taste.
that first
No.
couple of feet so
No.
warm.
Oh, yeah, it's
and
so
been
hot.
in the hose for a week.
You could brew a beer with just that water as it's been sitting in the sun.
I'm concerned.
With my health or in general?
All of it.
Yes.
Everything. Yeah.
All of it.
Well, listen, I wanted to, when we started this podcast, I wanted to make sure everyone knew everything about me. And that's one of the things that I've not said on the show yet.
No, that's one of the things you could have just kept in the background.
No, everything. You get to,
Full disclosure.
Yeah.
Full disclosure.
Full disclosure. I like hose water.
I do. And so does my doggie. She loves the hose water.
Love the hose.
So this is an aside, but I want to say it in a public forum because I think it'll be funnier there. So Mike had sent me a video of him going through some training with his dog.
Yeah.
He has this adorable little mutt, Maeve. So he sends me his picture of like, hey, look what I trained my dog to do today. And like, she's jumping off his back onto the couch. And I'm like, that's, so then that's
what you get with a quarantine dog. You have no other thing to do than train your dog to do crazy circus shit.
So I saw that, and then I looked at Hudson, the dumb motherfucker that he is, and I told him to sit, shake. He did that.
Good.
Both paws, and then I threw the treat for him to grab, and it smacked him right in the fucking head.
There you go.
Like a fucking idiot he is.
Like, oh.
I'm just like, yeah, no, that says it right there. You are a dumb, adorable motherfucker.
He greeted me at the door when I dropped the South 40 beer off to you.
Seriously,
Loves
one
me.
of the I think you're the only person outside of the family that he won't try and maul when they come through the door.
Yeah, he usually gives me the stink eye.
Yeah.
Like he wants to kill me through the glass when I show up.
Yep.
Kevin, do you guys have
a reach a detente with one mailman?
Oh.
But now there's been a different mail carrier, and he fucking hates them all.
Well, I will say this, the one thing my dog doesn't do is do a lot of barking. She's very quiet. She's very calm.
Good.
And she likes to watch and observe. And then if like sudden movements are made, then she's like, all right, let's get down to this shit. But I mean, for the most part, she's very trainable, and she's young enough. I got her at 12 weeks, so I started training the day we got her, and I still train to this day. Still do all this stuff.
You have to.
That jumping on the back stuff.
It shows.
Came with a lot of time.
Really,
your dog has worked really hard.
Of all things to train her to do, wouldn't you train her to get a beer?
Steven.
Dude, I see those videos, and I'm like, not in a million fucking years.
Yep.
Would my dog fucking figure out how to go to the fridge and get me a fucking
She needs to be a little. She needs to be a little older, because if I had her grab this can, it's exploding in her mouth.
Oh yeah.
Even if a bottle, I don't want her to grab glass, so I got to get her more trained for her bite pressure. She's doing really well lately on when to really grab and then when to not, and I train her with
that takes
peanut
time.
butter.
Yeah. Hey, buddy.
Good night, Mac.
Good night, buddy. I'll see you later. I train her with my arm. Basically it's like, she'll, when we're playing rough, she'll get on it, and I'll be like, and she'll start to kind of let go a little bit, and then she'll just have it there and like in her mouth, gum it and lick it. This is way too much for our audience of craft beer lovers to talk about. But the point is, there's no peanut butter involved, so let's just get that out of the equation.
Get that out.
And she's actually, getting better with, restraint, basically training and getting into that mental state of listening and reacting, and that's what you want to do, as far as I know, and it's what's worked. So, Kevin, have you guys looked into getting a brewery dog? That's one of the things that people around here.
That's the goal.
Yes.
There you go.
We're trying to find a dog that's hypoallergenic. That we're between two different dog breeds, but
okay. What are you looking at?
Oh, do tell. Now I'm curious.
I was reading, although there's some controversy that's not actually hyperallergenic, is Samoyed, which is like a Russian-looking husky. It's just like a
white
cloud
fluff ball.
Yeah.
Those are small though, aren't they? Small. They're
No,
not. Those
man,
are.
No,
they get big.
They get big. Yeah, I've seen a big one.
Define big.
Like
60
pounds.
50,
50, 60
Small.
pounds.
Small.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
But you got a 75-pounder over there.
I feel like that's medium.
Yeah. Eddie, I would call it medium.
So a Samoyed, those are beautiful dogs,
They
but
are.
I'd worry about the grooming bill on one of the
Just white hair
beautiful white
everywhere.
fluff ball. Yeah.
Yeah, the other one's a golden doodle, I believe, is the other. And we've had a couple at the brewery, and I'm starting to warm up to them. I wasn't a fan of the curly hair, but I'm starting to get to it.
They don't shed.
Yeah.
You know.
They are usually pretty tame. They my buddy, we know Graz has a golden doodle, and
you really have to put the time in with a dog that's smart though.
Yeah, they are very smart. Correct.
I wanted something dumber.
They want to be challenged. that was Pete's thing. Is this dog dumb as shit? Perfect. I'll take it. Take 2.
Terrific.
Terrific. No, but you got to put the time in with those because then those dogs end up.
They need something to do 24/7, or they get destructive.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one of the downfalls of it. But if you have them at the brewery constantly and they're walking around and they're kind of hanging out, they're always kind of entertained by people. That actually might work in your favor. So.
Yeah. To go back to actual
beer.
Well, we were talking about brewery dogs. I tied it in. I tied into beer.
Every show I try to do something where I ask the brewer or owner a couple of questions that are specific to beer, like what was the first like craft beer that turned you on to craft beer?
Jug Handle's Kolsch.
Ooh.
Oh, you were quick
like
on it.
without even hesitation.
Yeah. Oh, he was.
I'll never forget that one.
That.
And wait, so what was that experience? Where were you? What were you doing? What was the situation where it just kind of dawned on you like, holy shit, there's something more than Bud Light?
Yeah. Well, it was PBR for me, but
I still enjoy a good Pabst. Come on,
a nice cold PBR is pretty damn good.
It's good, man.
Yeah, but you got to finish in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Otherwise, it's natty ice in a can.
Yeah. Yeah, but I just remember we were going to a bunch of different breweries, and I get along with the stouts because I loved coffee. But there was just something about the flavors and the Kolsch, and that's why there's a Kolsch on the menu opening day. But I threw my own little twist on it by throwing the hops in the whirlpool rather than during the boil.
Cool.
What hops are you using for that, for the KPA? I like it. It sounds like a kapow.
I wish I could remember. Yeah.
That's okay, man. It's all good.
It's all of the hops.
That's why it's written down, so I don't have to remember it.
Yep. Now, what's your favorite style?
Honestly, I don't want to say it, but now it's the double New England IPAs. Okay. Before that, it was the Dunkelweizen.
Yeah, we suckered to Pete into liking IPAs. He was a traditional German beer style, right?
Belgian.
Belgian too. Yeah, absolutely. And then we started the show, and then all of a sudden Pete's like, "Oh shit, there's good New England IPAs out there."
Had a couple Trilliums yesterday.
You still can't get him to drink sour beers, though.
Ooh. No.
And by the way, Steven, the ones you gave me, what's the one down the two that you gave me?
Bearded Iris?
Yes, Bearded Iris. So my wife, I showed her the two. One's 8%, one's 6%. I gave her the 8% knowing it was 8% because I just wanted her to kind of like be happy and pass out early. And she had it. And
getting weird.
Nope, that was totally truth. Again, I don't speak lies here. And no fake news. And I saw it happen. I watched the transition. It was almost like entertainment. I was like, look at her go. Look at her drink that 8%. Hercules looking good. She turns to me after she drank it. She went on a walk. She comes back. She goes, wow, that was a lot. I go, yeah, it was 8%. She goes, yeah, it was 8%. That really kicked my ass. I'm like, yeah. Meanwhile, she drinks like Tito's and soda like water. But it
sure does.
But an 8% freaking beer, a sour beer, knocked her on her ass. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to see. So same thing, Kevin, with you, with those double IPAs. I noticed, a little bit of heat in that in the Simcoe's baby. I like that, and
baby.
Oh yeah, and that's going to be next on here, and this is what's going to round out our last 40 minutes here.
Yeah,
sorry,
I got it 8.7.
Yeah, Daddy ain't sleeping tonight. I'll tell you that right now. I got to finish off this Pilsner quick, and it's one of those things where I do enjoy the high alcohol content. I can't drink, let's say 15 of them, obviously, but to have one or two in a night really just like caps off the night for me. And then I can either go back to a session or a low ABV Pilsner or anything like that, or start the night off with some pregame beers. But I do like having that on the menu. When I go to a brewery and there's no above 8%, I go, nah, I'm not going to have as good of a night as I thought I was going to have. I'm going to be honest with you. Then it's going to take way more beers and way more money to get to the level where I want to be. So I like at least the option. So if I'm, kind of, edging, we'll say, or microdosing on my beers, both Pete and Steve went, wait, did he say edging? Yes, he did. Then I can actually hit that threshold by jumping into the 8%. And 8.7, I mean, that's real deal.
Yeah, the original door opener was 10%. I still have it on tap at home.
Say what?
And you drink one of those and you're good.
Yes, that's like almost you almost have to call that a triple, because that's edging into the realm of super imperial.
Please stop using the word edging.
Okay, all right. Well, that one wasn't towards the other one.
Now, one more question, Kev. What is your go-to beer now that is not yours?
That's a great question.
Have you asked? Wait. Have you asked that question every week?
Not every week.
No, it's a good question.
That's a new one,
I
think.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not new. I think I've heard it before, but you haven't asked that one in a while.
Yeah.
I think we sidetracked ourselves way too many times for you to actually ask that question.
I think so.
Indeed.
Okay, Kev,
ever since the pandemic started, it's pretty much been my Saturday thing to go down to Kane and go home with a case. And every time that case has overhead in it. And it's a special weekend when it's Kane's double dry hop version of their overhead. That one goes really fast. It's really good.
You and I were talking a little bit about Kane. I've had some great memories. I went down for a wedding in New Jersey, probably 2017 before we started doing the show. Maybe it was 2018 when we first started. And I said to my wife, if we're going down for this wedding, daddies need to hit some breweries in New Jersey. It was actually my first experience with breweries in New Jersey. I hit Kane on the way down. Then the next day I went to Carton as she was doing her bridesmaid thing with her bridesmaids. Carton was a great experience. Tiny little house in the middle of a residential area. You walk in, you're like, there's a fucking brewery in this house. But Kane was really, really freaking cool. I enjoyed Overhead was on tap. I had a couple others. There was another double IPA that was really good. Grabbed some stuff to go. And that was my first experience saying New Jersey has got a scene to be reckoned with. I mean, this is a brewery that racks up there with, what we had going on here between Sand City and Barrier, those really, hazy juice bomb IPAs that kind of just kicked off here. And now New Jersey's caught on, obviously, with a lot of that. Icarus is one of my favorites. Been there a few times. We spoke about that. But, I mean, Kane is one of the OGs, right? I mean, that was one of the first ones to kind of really grab national fandom.
Yeah, I think it was Kane and Carton opened on the same day in, I want to say 2011. I think it was September, beginning of September, I think.
Can you imagine two big hitters, two big nationally distributed? Well, Kane's not as nationally distributed, but
the thing
Carton
with those
is.
guys too is they paved the way because they took a beating when they first opened. There was a lot of the laws of change in Jersey because of those guys.
I think they had tap rooms.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I remember walking into Carton and the bar had two Randalls on the bar. So not only were they pouring their 12 beers on tap, but they were then pulling through a Randall of random shit. I think one was Sour Patch Kids and the other one was like jalapenos and pineapples. And they could just randomly do adjuncts right there, instant adjuncting right at the bar. I mean, that to me, I was like, what the fuck is that thing sitting there? They're like, it's a Randall. I'm like, who does Randalls? Oh, Dogfish Head does Randalls. Oh, I know Dogfish Head. I've been there too. And I realized the whole history of that process and going back to, instantly changing things and repressurizing and basically it started off with just another dry hop. And then they said, why are we just putting hops in there? Why don't we just put 40-pound gummy bears in there? Like, why not? What's stopping us? New Jersey, to me, at that weekend, I think I also stopped at Dark City in Atlanta. Is it Atlantic City? It's not Atlantic City. It's
I believe it's somewhere just outside of Atlantic City.
Yeah, it's just outside. Maybe it's still considered Atlantic City, but it's right there. And Those three breweries to me on that weekend, I was blown away by the amount of differentiation between the three, by the styles that they all offered, and by how New Jersey was mirroring, the movement that was going on here on Long Island as well, with all the openings and all the new places to visit. And I go, this is something we have to watch. So then when Pete and I started, one of my definite focuses was to also start to get New Jersey breweries on the show. And we've kind of tried to keep true with that along the way. And again, Kevin being on the show today attests to that idea. We really just don't only enjoy the New York, Long Island, hyper-local scene. We like to branch out. We love to talk to everybody and to see, what crazy shit they're doing. That's fun. So Kane, what was it about Kane besides the overhead that really caught you?
When you walk in that building, you almost in a way walk through like the history of Kane, because you walk in the front and it just looks like some office building that has a warehouse slapped on the back of it, and you walk in their old tasting room, which is, for a brewery that big, it's half the size of mine.
It's like their secondary tasting room now, right? I mean, It's basically just like their, okay,
it's
we have a
merged.
guy there in case no one else wants to get online. It's the other one.
Yeah, and then you walk in and it's like, whoa! It just, the ceilings, I don't even know. Well, it's got to be like 100 feet tall, and if you look in the right directions, you can see they have a room that is floor to ceiling barrel aged going on, and hundreds of barrels back there. And then the other side is just a massive walk-in cooler.
And all their fermenters are right there. You literally can, have a beer right next to their, what is that, 20, 30 barrel fermenters? There must be.
Yeah, it's huge. And I think they might even have, they have some other tanks over there too.
Yeah.
You could almost lean on them.
There, 4 years ago now, or 3 years ago. So I'm sure they've even expanded beyond that, because continuing on with the craft beer industry, it's exploded in the last 5 years or so. So I'm sure they've, upped their game even more so.
I know they're at least 15,000 barrels now.
Jesus.
But they're in 4 different buildings in that little center, I believe.
And they're not even like nationally distributing. They're locally distributing, but not nationally. Or if they are, they're like just very northeast. I've seen it trickle into local distributors up here, but nothing of like pallets of beer. So they're getting it occasionally, but most people are going there.
I was at a talk where both Augie Carton and Michael Kane were there, and they both said they're like Augie Carton. I think he said he doesn't even plan on growing anymore, because his goal from the beginning was just to be in every bar in his town and just to make the people in his town happy, and that was it. And Kane, same thing. They just wanted to be in bars, and it was only 2 or 3 years ago that you could find their can in your Wegmans.
Yeah. I had a local distributor that carried a couple of different carton varieties, but it was the beach and
Boat and ODub.
Yep, and those were the ones that they basically I probably allocated just for distribution, but they so beyond that. The XX0700, whatever it is.
It's 007.
007XX,
I think.
Yeah.
So they call it ODub.
ODub. Yeah, that's right. So that one.
They do a bunch of those
variants of
really
those
light style coffee beers. Where they, like the one that had like churros in it, and
I'm
crazy good stuff.
So I mean, New Jersey has really exploded with that. As you're kind of going through your process over the last few years, have you seen tremendous opportunity come your way because of those groundbreaking people?
Yeah, I mean, I'm even where we are in Edison, I've been referring to it as almost a craft beer desert. There's places opening up, but it's not really a beer destination. I kind of hope that there's another brewery or two that opens up around the corner here, because then, I mean, with us in Cyprus right around the corner.
15 minutes away though. We did Waze it, And I said, oh, you're right. You got to go like up on the highway and back in and around because on the other side of the complex. But you're right. It's and I was saying to you, one of my first experiences with the Edison area, we had a Dinosaurs Alive at the convention center, and in between sessions, my buddy and I were like, let's find a brewery. And we're like, Cypress, 5 minutes away. Sweet. Run over there. We had them on the show. They called into the show later that week. And we're like, it was the only one around. Now you have Brainy Burrow Brewing. That's a little bit north of you guys. That's probably like a half hour away.
It's like 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. And the road that we're on, if it wasn't a dead end, if they connected that road, it would be a 4-minute drive between us and Cypress.
You got to get somebody to work on that, Kev.
Yeah.
There's a little hole in the fence that we run through to go to each other's breweries.
You know what? You can get like a zip line, and you guys can trade beers in between. You can do a collaboration through the zip line. Here's the yeast. Okay, here comes the grain. Grain is coming. But you're right. That area of New Jersey, the very northeast area, is kind of lacking that condensation or compression of all these breweries that could be there, and the business district that you're in with all the check boxes that it can satisfy between the water and the parking and all that stuff. A great opportunity for people to come in there, and I think you're right. I would promote more of the business of breweries moving in there to make it a destination. We love that idea to go in and hit up 4 or 5 breweries in a day, almost within walking distance, if not 4 or 5 minute driving distance, in an industrial area where there's nobody. On the weekend, there's nobody there. We drove through and went, wow, there's like literally no cars, no trucks, no nothing. It's empty, so it's nice.
And no one getting hit by a semi-truck while they stumble out of a bar.
Nobody was getting hit by the semi.
Oh, Long Beach. We took the opposite end of the spectrum tonight, didn't we?
How silly.
And the state not allowing us to have food. I mean, we have some light prepackaged snacks, but
they call them Cuomo snacks.
Yeah, Cuomo chips.
Cuomo snacks.
Cuomo chips. Excuse me. Cuomo chips.
But that's interesting. So New Jersey doesn't allow it. Doesn't want it.
I mean, if you want to make food, you have to be a brew pub, and then you're limited to 10,000 barrels. But in Edison, there's so many food options that they'll deliver to you pretty quickly, and
you don't have that rule where if someone sits down to the bar, they've got to order food right now. That's not.
No,
we didn't order food. The food truck pulled up while we were there.
Yeah,
it looked like delicious empanadas.
Which was your dinner.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, I had empanadas and a Cuban sandwich. It was really good.
Oh, I love a good Cuban.
That does sound good.
Now, Kev, also your girlfriend is involved. I know you were saying you have a couple silent partners and your dad.
Yeah, my dad was kind of the one who was like, "This is better than a lot of the craft beer places we go to," and kind of pushed me into doing it. And then he's like I guess you would call him the major partner with me, and spent over a year building the place out. We had 4 walls and an outlet that kind of worked. It was when we were running the table saw for more than 5 seconds, it was turn it off real quick because it's going to blow the power to the whole building. Jeez. And now we have a whole new telephone pole outside, but a lot of nights and weekends, just me and him at the brewery. But
what a bonding experience.
Yeah.
I wish my dad was into craft beer. We could bond over a radio show.
And since the brewery opened, he was just pretty much you see him order a stout. And now he's drinking. He drinks the door opener almost every time he walks in.
Get out of here! There you go. Turn into a double IPA fan overnight.
Yeah,
craft beer nerd.
Stuff. Yeah.
So you guys, I know you mentioned it before earlier in the night. You had a gravity based homebrew system. What was the? Because we saw the rig that you had kind of built up. How is? Oh, you're onto it. All right, I got to get into the.
Oh boy,
hold on. It's only 9:30.
It's gonna get
15 minutes on the show. How does that work? Did you guys research that? Was it something that was purchased? And then what were the first few beers that you guys brewed on that system?
So at the time, it was I was brewing beer just because of the fact that I wanted craft beer, but I couldn't afford it. So I figured out you can make it for a lot cheaper, but just a little extra money up front.
Boom. Pills are gone. Moving on.
Pills is really good.
Yeah, it was good. That. I could drink a few more of those and not be as Paul would say, butthurt. I would not be butthurt. You never heard Paul Comsick say butthurt like 5 times? Yes.
Yeah.
I like it. But I wouldn't be butthurt over this, and I could drink it all night. So very delicious. Sorry, Kev. Go ahead.
But it was gravity fed just because of I didn't want to buy a pump at the time. Blickman didn't have their cheap little $50 pump, or it's made by Blickman, but I think it's technically an Anvil pump, and it's plastic.
I think it is Anvil.
Yeah, and after spilling enough 180-degree water on myself trying to lift that igloo cooler over my head, I got the pump.
Well, you know what? I guarantee there is a great amount of homebrewers out there that have gone through the same exact thing.
Yeah.
And after a while, you're just like, okay, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah, you can only beat yourself in the submission for so long.
Yeah.
There's only so much skin you can lose on your arms before you
Literally.
realize the errors of your ways.
Yeah.
Well, you were saying when you use your new system, you actually burnt yourself like right off the bat. And
yeah, I'm very happy you enjoyed the Pilsner because I gave myself 3rd-degree burns while doing that one. I have a nice scar on my arm from it still.
And isn't that why most brewers have tattoos, right? Just to tattoo over the scarring that happens from the burns and
from the burns and the everything else that you get on your caustics and whatever else.
And that same day, I pretty much just about flooded the entire brewery with everything that I spilled. But last 2 beers, barely a drop hits the floor. So every time it feels a little bit better.
There you go. And that's what's going to be, the longer you do this, and you're going to get into such a groove of how to do it, when to do it, and it all becomes efficiency.
I was gonna say scheduling has got to be a big part, Kev. So what goes into the scheduling of the beers? I know like you said, we said the cinnamon roll is in there, the double IPA is in there. I mean, conscious effort on order in which you do things. What would be the next thing up, and then why? Because of the scheduling and the timing.
I believe I told you guys that my goal pre-pandemic was I want to have 12 beers on tap opening day. We have I wanted to do a new beer come out every single week of the year, but
it's awesome.
But at the same time, now I'm like, okay, now it's about just focusing on what we have and just kind of repeating some of it and just making it the best that it can be. So then the next is going to be the Pilsner, then probably the door opener and Simcoe's Baby again, followed by Dunkelweizen.
There you go.
And yeah.
And is that because you're getting, responses or people coming back in with feedback saying these are the beers that you should keep going with?
A little bit of that, but also like for the purest pills, we now have a group of guys who are coming in on Friday night. That's all they drink.
Right.
And 1 or 2 of them will venture out into different things, but it's like, I don't want to disappoint them. So.
Well, again, you were saying you want 12 beers on tap.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, maybe that beer, that Pils, that stays on forever. Yep. That's like
that's a good problem.
You just got to keep brewing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Again and again, just to have on. The idea of that you originally had of trying to bring a new beer in all the time. I mean, you're relatively new, so people are still finding out about you guys and coming in, even though you have a bunch of returnees. I know I found once we were a little established, if our menu didn't change every so many weeks, we saw a drop off in the tasting room because, and again, you're relatively new, but once you have something, I've already had that. once you put one new thing on, it's like, oh my God, yes. All right, something new.
Yeah.
And they'll still buy the old stuff. They'll still be like, oh shit, yeah, I'll have that because I remember that was great and that was great.
The newest stuff is what brings them back.
Yep, new stuff brings them back. Old stuff they'll buy that because they're getting the new stuff. But yeah, you probably are right. Couple or 2 or 3 beers, keep brewing the same ones and having them on the list because those are the ones that are bringing people back right now.
Yeah, especially during the times that we're in. It's when I like I was saying earlier, I don't even want to think about next week where we might be at. Yeah. But it's if I get people loving the Pilsner, loving the Dunkelweiss, and loving Simcoe's Baby, there are going to be people who are ordering online for me when I can't have anybody at the brewery at all.
Right.
Yep.
So I got to commit myself to making that as best as I possibly can, just for them.
And speaking of Simcoe's Baby, let's bring us to exactly what goes into that. Go ahead.
Well, I'd rather ask first. I don't even know. I meant to ask you, where the hell did the name come from, Simcoe's Baby?
So I try to get the name from the easiest source. So door opener was my girlfriend's father took one sip and said, "That's a door opener," because he loved it. And so Simcoe's Baby is, the beer is a little bit of Simcoe with a lot of Mosaic. Mosaic is the daughter of Simcoe. So it's Simcoe's Baby.
I like it.
I feel so much better because I asked that question before we came on air.
Did you?
I thought it was like a rose. Yeah, I thought it was like a Rosemary's Baby. That's what I asked.
There you go. Now, what went into this? Is this like a standard IPA base with just over hopping, or what are we doing with a lot of the?
It tastes very malt forward.
Yeah.
It is.
But with a great nose.
If I remember correctly, it's actually both Simcoe's Baby and Door Opener have the same malt bill.
Okay.
And so what's the, obviously you're just going Simcoe heavy, right? Is there anything else involved in that? Any other hops or anything else?
Yeah, it's light on the Simcoe and heavy on the Mosaic.
Oh, okay. So it is sexy hops time.
What
sexy hop time? Yes, I like.
That and ask. Yeah. What is the grain bill on something like this?
It is mostly 2-row with flaked oats and a little bit of malted oats.
There you go.
And I saw you guys while we were there. I was checking out your grain, your little grain area, and you're using a bunch of Breeze, which, I mean, you can't go wrong with that because they've been around a long time and they make some really great malt.
Pete, I got to tell you, it's almost an art to watch Steve walk around a brewery. We have to go as a group. I know we've been to a couple of breweries together, but to watch him in the back, kind of just do his paces, walk around, and be like, look at this.
Especially when he picks up on hearing that our crowlers are purged with CO2 before the film.
I was so happy to see that because I've been to breweries. They don't do it. And I'm like, got to drink that as soon as I get in the car because
otherwise game over.
And it tastes like shit in another, day. As soon as I just heard it. And I was like, oh my God, they're purging the crowds. That's awesome. I can't, I'm so happy.
His ears perked up like a meerkat. It was crazy. You could hear it. You could just see it. I was waiting for it for quite some time. And I went, oh, look at this guy. But it's what should happen, right? I mean, the biggest detriment to your beer is definitely oxidation, and you want to eliminate all of the oxygen.
Well, we don't know that's exactly what would happen, but we know that's what happened.
No, we know that's. But you're right. I mean, that's.
I've had a few beers now. Can we call them out?
No. We'll wait another week.
Damn it!
I'm going to send one more email, and then we're not going to ruin Kevin's night because we don't want to turn Kevin's night into a bash fest. But we'll turn our local friends at Blind Bag into a bash fest.
There we go.
Yeah. What were we going to say?
I don't. Never mind.
No. You're going to get into it. You don't want to get into it. Don't do it. It's fine.
Can the subject line be "Stop ghosting us"?
Yeah.
Next email, for fuck's sake.
And we'll just get a picture of Spider-Man ghosting Nick Fury, right? That's all we have to do.
Yeah.
See, a little Marvel humor for you. People on Instagram are checking in, so I want to say what's up to One Imperator. One, thanks for joining in.
I don't know what that is.
Basement Brewers Soft XS. I don't know what that is, but a bunch of people are checking in on Instagram saying what's up and giving us little waves. So thanks a lot for everyone checking in. And Old Dominion Beer Hunter 01 is checking in saying what's up. Thanks a lot, Old Dominion. Appreciate your time for coming in. And we have Kevin from South 40 in Edison, New Jersey on the show. So thanks, everyone, for hanging out with us. Kev, we have had an experiences over the course of 3 years of doing this show and hanging out and doing some fun stuff. Give the audience some sort of idea of what would separate the experience of South 40 from other breweries in New Jersey or even in the New York or let's say metropolitan area. It's a great term. Metropolitan.
So I guess just when you walk into the brewery, you should just immediately feel the warmth of the place. It's just meant to be very like, you just relax when you walk in. It's just supposed to be a place to come in. That's why we have the big leather couches.
You never got to sit on that thing either.
I didn't sit down.
They're good.
Son of a bitch.
No, you told us to sit on the big leather couch, and we never got the chance.
All right, so I'm going to take it to the next
Is it a
level.
casting couch?
Yeah, I was just about to take it to the next level.
We think it is, but
Kevin, allegedly, would there be any hanky-panky that's ever gone on either couch, either known or unknown or alleged?
Nothing known.
All right.
Nothing known.
There you go.
Good answer.
Come on, answer.
But, I mean, they're big leather couches. How'd you obtain those? I forget what you said. They were from a local place?
From a business around the corner that was going out of business, and we were able to get a hold of them.
There you go. Did you blacklight them before you brought them in?
No. No, but we, one of the things that I guess now is something that we never thought of is we sanitize them like
I was going to say ISO all day, just squirt them all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We sanitize that one in the brewing area, in the tap room so much that a little bit of the leather is starting to crack, so we have to recondition it already after 2 weeks.
You know what, though? You did the right thing. Regardless of how much it degraded the leather, you got to get it clean.
Well, you're just thinking of your business, which is the best thing to do. You got to think of what the state wants you to do, and I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it so good it's going to ruin my furniture.
Yep.
It's scary times that what businesses have to go, especially being a brand new, brewery opening up, just a few weeks, people coming in, everything you had to now.
Wow. I'm sorry, Simcoe's baby. I like Simcoe. I know there's Mosaic there and everything, but goddamn, it's a fucking tasty goddamn beer.
I think it was actually Cryo Simcoe, so it's a little more punchier.
Nice.
Yeah.
Someone's getting a little scientific
which is
on
probably
this.
a little more expensive, but you get the bang for your buck.
Yeah.
You definitely get the bang for your buck on that one. And you actually reap more of your liquid because you don't have these pellets just soaking up product that now you have because of this cryo.
What state, guys? What state is the cryo in? I know it's like freeze dried in a way, but is it solid pellet form? Is it a brick? What was it come in?
It's pellets, and I believe it's trimmed up a little nicer, so that way you can use more of it without having to worry about getting that exhaust or the spit out of the lawnmower flavor going on.
I mean, you extracted a shit ton of flavor on this one. This is fantastic.
Yeah, of course.
It's actually better than I remember from the other day. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Well, you know what it was, because we were trying to drink everything.
Yes, correct.
And
you're right. We were just trying to drink everything we could get our hands on.
And get home in time so we don't get beaten.
Well, I get beaten. You won't get beaten.
No.
You went home to a nice calm house with no one up your ass and no one questioning where you've been and no one giving you any answers. And I got in and got a guilt trip, as I usually do, and I'm waiting for it. I'm ready for it every time.
That's why I skipped it this week.
I understand, but I'm
As
willing.
we thought.
As we know. But I'm willing to take the bumps and bruises because 10 minutes later, we're back to normal. So I'll take the 10 minutes for the few hours that I get to get out of the house sometimes. And now that she hears this, more than likely she'll be like, "Fuck, I gotta really stay on this motherfucker for like 2 weeks."
I gotta
2 weeks.
I gotta hold this bitch down.
Yeah, the man. I gotta be the man in the house. Hold the son of a bitch.
Now, Kev, we obviously showed up. We were you knew we were coming, and we were kind of like special guests and stuff. I did see, you guys checking IDs and stuff like that. But is there anything else that the state is looking for? I know certain states want an email address from people that are showing up.
Yes.
And just in case someone in the facility gets either in contact with someone with COVID or it was something that you guys were doing also.
Yeah, we have a like a Excel doc going where they wanted us to actually have it handwritten from our town's health department. They wanted everybody handwriting their names and emails, but we just type it in ourselves. So it causes a little bit of a wait at the register, but it's just safer.
Truth be told, we went on the way home. We stopped at Flagship on Staten Island. I haven't been there in a few years. And we walked in and there's one guy working this entire place. He's behind the bar. There's got to be like 10 tables inside, 5 tables outside. And Steve and I were waiting probably like 15 minutes. And then we both turned to each other and we're like, yeah, we're going to get beer to go. We're not staying here. And we ended up getting beer to go. But we saw people, New York City is requiring people to put their name, phone number, and email address for anyone that's seated at the brewery. So that's got to be like some sort of data entry level position on top of everything, right? At the end of the night, you got to upload all this stuff into a database more than likely. How is that working out for you? I mean, obviously, can you get the electronic POS system to kind of trace people in that regard? Has Square entered some sort of level where you can trace people by their credit card information?
Well, actually, I do believe there is a way with Square, but we just use like a Google Doc sheet, and just keep it rolling and add the date in.
Is that someone that you have to enter that manually at the end of the day, or do you have them just enter it on an iPad? Like, how's that working right now?
We ask everybody as they walk up.
Oh, good. All right, good.
Yeah, I don't think we asked you guys.
Okay, so you can say Wort GovsMike@gmail.com. If in fact this 6% turns out and Steve and I contracted HIV, I'm sorry, COVID.
Hey.
Well, things might have happened on the loading dock. We're not gonna.
It's always the loading dock.
Confirm nor deny. What happens on the loading dock stays at the loading dock. Wait, what? What, Pete?
Yep.
But no, that's the thing. You want to make sure that as a business, you're complying with obviously state rules and regulations, and it's got to be just another thing to worry about, especially opening during this time.
Yeah, it's just one of those like, God, if I get it, I need to clean this place because if I get it, we go down.
Well, we always said, Pete said it 2 weeks ago. One of the safest places probably is a brewery. Because everything has got to
be sanitized on a regular day.
Right.
And that's why I like my girlfriend and my brother who work behind the bar with me. They on days when I'm brewing, they keep telling me to relax because in my head, I'm like, people can smell what I'm doing. You shouldn't smell what's going on at a brewery ever. But it's because we have a drain that goes underneath the brewing area, and there's a little drain inside the tap room.
Yeah,
that you smell it. You smell
I like that smell
going
though.
Through.
That smell of like the malty wheat being burned off, or whatever that signature smell of a brewery is. I wish I could make that into a candle and light it down here all day long. I would love that. It's a great smell. Pete, Trogs.
Yes.
Walking up to Trogs that one time I went, That's the smell that overwhelmed the area. Dogfish Head, that's the smell that overwhelms the area. If you're at Treehouse and they're brewing at the time, that's the smell that overwhelms the area. What is that signature smell?
Yeah, that's just wort.
Yeah, it is.
See? Sweet wort.
Wait. So let's throw down a business model here, okay? The show is called The Wort with Mike, Pete, and Steve, right? And what if we were to try to find a way to develop that smell and sell it as a candle? People would lose their minds because it reminds them as that first time they walked into a brewery.
I guarantee there is a way to do that, because all it is just sugars being along with, I mean, if you taste different malt, there is flavors to it, but it's that conversion when it goes over to carbohydrates from that simple sugar. That's all that, even before you put hops in, you just, that sweet caramelized malt.
Yes, that's what it is.
We used to, when we had the brewery open, we used to have people actually call the brewery and be like, "What are you brewing today?" We could smell it like down the block. It was awesome.
That was the employees of White Castle, was it, right?
Yes, it was, because the smell of White Castle would come by us, and we were like, "Oh, what are you guys making today?"
Gonna return the favor.
These burgers.
Here it is. Here's the smell of sweet wort coming your way, buddy.
Yeah. And actually, that should be the name of the candle, Sweet Wort.
Yes. I'm telling you.
White Castle's so bad now.
You don't have one close enough there, Peter.
It's in Farmingdale.
It's the same one that
you really don't have a straight shot to it. That's
Goodness gracious!
That's the way that it tastes and smells and feels the next day.
That's right. Goodness gracious.
Goodness gracious.
Goodness gracious. My butthole.
Yeah. Kev, we're going to run out of time in a few minutes. I want to kind of wrap up with you here and give you give everybody some great information about the brewery. So we know we have the cinnamon bun coming out. We know we have the new New England IPA. Do you know the name of what's going to come out for that IPA?
I honestly haven't come up with it yet, but it's going to be
Pineapple Express.
No, it's been done.
I think it's been done already.
Yeah.
It's going to be called Mike, Pete, and Steve, the Wort.
Don't do that. Don't do that. As good as
delicious.
Yeah. We're actually pretty good at names here at the Wort. We can pretty much do a good brainstorming session, but we're running out of time for that. So whatever it is, just ask for it by name, the Pineapple IPA deliciousness, and it should be ready in about 2 weeks, we say, or a week from Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, a week from Friday.
Yeah.
Dole's Revenge.
Dole's Revenge.
No, Dole's.
Oh,
like
Dole.
Dole Pineapple.
Oh, yeah.
Dole's Revenge.
All right, brainstorming session on. So, Dole's Revenge. What else could be pineapple related?
I just want it to be called Ammo Want That.
Ooh, there you go.
Because it was an Ammo Depot and Ammo Want That.
Or you have a pineapple in the shape of a mortar.
Yep, see?
Right? And you say like
and what is a hand grenade
tropical
called?
artillery
Pineapple.
or something
Pineapple.
like that. To kind of
Pineapple grenade.
Oh, well, that's been done. That's been done. It's been done by both a brewery and a band. Which is, it's an awesome artwork too. You got to see this artwork. It's like a tattoo of a guy holding a pineapple, but it's in a grenade form. It's really freaking cool.
Just call it number 4.
4 is the magic number.
Yep. Number 4.
There you go. Well, number 4 would be good. That kind of sums up the space and the history of what it was. But yeah, I would say something along those lines of calling tribute to.
I'm happy with Dole's Revenge. I stand by that.
Yeah, I actually really like that one. To be honest, it might be
tell
along those lines.
Well, can you rip off the label just enough not to get sued? That's the key.
That seems to be the thing to do in the beer industry these days.
It sure is.
We know a local brewery that does that a whole lot.
Bunch. And they get away with it every single time.
Damn Skippy.
They skip it around the legal system.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, not a bad idea. See, this is what we bring to the table sometimes. Kev, give us the big wrap up here. Give us the contact, the information people need to get in touch with you. Obviously, that's the contact. Also, the location, how to get there, hours of operation, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, social media elements, and what we can expect from the brewery in the next few weeks.
So it's just South 40 Brewing Co. Facebook, Instagram. We're on Google. We're on Apple Maps. Our URL is south40brewingco.com. 4040. Our hours are, we open 12 o'clock every single day. We close at 8 Monday through Thursday. We stay up until 9 on Friday and Saturday, and 5 o'clock on Sundays. And unless there's a Giants game on there, we might stay open a little later.
Yeah. Is that the big thing in New Jersey? They're all Giants fans?
I'm just a Giants fan, so that's why I say it.
So am I.
you're happy then.
So am
You're
I.
happy that they hung on.
We should have talked more about this back at the brewery. I'm a huge Giants fan. And big win on Sunday. Big win. Needed that. Needed to get the right the ship and get this train back on track. Because I think we could make a nice little run here with some of these young guns that we have on the offensive line and some of our... Just leave Golden Tate at home. Just leave him home. We don't need him. Everyone's doing fine without him. We're fine without him. Sorry. So not to interrupt, but to interrupt. Go ahead.
But yeah, and then what to expect from the brewery, I guess, is just us working on coming out with new things, expanding the menu, but keeping the couple items and just them getting better and more consistent every time.
Some of the new core that you have, which is new core because it's so new.
Yeah.
And I actually, everything that you mentioned, the pills, the dark wheat, the Dunkelweiss, the Simcoe, and I mean, but before anything else, those are my top 3 right away. So if that's what you're bringing back, highly recommend those beers to anyone that's traveling down there and visiting South 40.
Thank you.
This is the Wort with Mike, Pete, and Steve, GovsRadio.com. Kev, man, thanks a lot for spending time with us tonight.
Yeah, man.
A lot of fun, and thanks for hosting us this past weekend. We had a great time, and Steve and I love getting out of the house when we can.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm happy you guys like the beer, too.
Fuck yeah. I'm going to spend the next hour drinking this, by the way. I know I was a little slow tonight. I had a rough few days. This is what I'm going to end up falling asleep to. I got 2 hours before I really have to go to bed.
But yeah, Kevin and I, we spoke a little bit, and I gave you my professional opinion, and I tell Mike and Pete all the time, a brand new brewery, you got to give them like 8 months, if not more, sometimes to get this shit together. You kind of like a little bit early in the curve, bro. There were quite a few beers that, when we sat down and drank them, I'm like, yeah, you just really, you don't need to fix these, because these are really like, and Pils was one, Simcoe was another.
The Dunkelweiss was very good. That would have been my third. Yep.
The Dunkelweiss one is, I would say, the one I'm most proud of on the menu right now, because it just came out the way I wanted it to be.
It was that Coach PA. I really dug. Even the blonde ale. That was well done also.
Thank you.
So yeah, man, you got a good start, which is what you want as a brewery. Some breweries come out of the gate and they have a shit ton of money and they have all the big fancy equipment and brewers that are trained and you're coming out with your own thing and you're doing a good job. So
thank you.
Great job, man. I love when somebody comes out and they have their own plan and they're doing something right, because we've seen, as the Wort, we've seen some real bad tries.
Swing and a miss.
Swing and a miss. But yeah, we were actually happy when we tried some of your beers that you're on the right path. And we hope you have great success because, again, man, you want an area that people could show up and make it a destination because that's a great thing. So find some other brewers, get some shit open over there, bro.
Yeah.
Oh,
second locations.
Yeah, but thank you. That means a lot to me.
Oh yeah,
Thank you,
bro. Keep up the good work, man. I know it's just going to get even better. So,
thank you.
We're Mike, Pete, and Steve. Steve, last words before we get out of here. Nothing prepared
beer
tonight, huh?
Yeah, you know what? Drink beer because it's delicious.
It is. Pete, what do you got?
Don't forget to have your pet spayed or neutered.
There it is. Especially
rest in peace, Alice Trebek.
Yes, Alice Trebek. We do miss him already.
Yeah, we do miss the Trebek.
Shut down.
Goddamn.
2020 sucks a dick.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Oh wait, really quick. So the earthquake that happened in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, right? So I had a friend up in that area that was at a lacrosse tournament. The earthquake happened, and about 10 minutes later, wait for this, thousands of tiny spiders hatched and rained from the trees in webs that you could visibly see and rained on all the people at the game.
Nope.
Oh my God.
Nope.
Where was this?
Nope. In Rhode they were in Massachusetts. Connecticut. Northeast Connecticut.
I'm never going there
again.
Dude.
Ass.
Crazy times. Listen, everybody stay safe out there. This is the Wort with Mike, Pete, and Steve. GovsRadio.com. Thanks a lot for joining us tonight. We will be in podcast form tomorrow on the Hopped Up Network, on iTunes and on Spotify. And we will see you next 2 weeks from now with Blind Bat. Thanks a lot, guys. Holla, holla.
Sweet.
Well, that's 2 hours of your life you're never getting back.
First off, it was 3 hours.
What the fuck? Honestly, how can you talk about beer for 3 hours?
It's beer. There's so many elements in it.
Where's mine? It's been 3 hours and I don't even get a single beer.
You don't get shit.
This is the Wort on Govs Radio. I hope you're drunk enough.